What's happening, graphic designers? In tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the combination of T and graphic design layouts. Welcome back, everybody, to episode number 15 of Graphic Design Layout Bootcamp. My name is Steve Looney, and in every episode, what I do is I take a fictitious logo that I designed in my previous series, and now I do something with that logo. I put it on some type of a graphic design layout for you out there to learn and get better as a graphic designer. Alright, so if we go back to episode number 15 of Logo Design Bootcamp, I designed a logo for only Organix, which was really for a organic food company. Now, what I did with that logo in this tutorial was I simplified it, so it could look a lot more professional on the graphic design layout that you're going to be learning from today. You're going to be learning how to design a layout or 3 different layouts as a set of different products for different types of tea. Now, these are basically fronts of a package, and this is what you're going to learn today. A ton of stuff, as in all these tutorials. What's so great about this entire series is that if you click this button right here, you can download these files, these Adobe Illustrator files, without the images that I purchased for my own tutorial, and you can get your own images and you can follow along with the video and the file at the same time. So let me get into critiquing this. We're going to use Adobe Photoshop and then Adobe Illustrator to complete the whole layout, and I'll see you at the end. What you're looking at is basically a 3-box set of different types of tea blends that this Only Organix company offers. Now, it's a type of thing that when you design different ones, you want them to look like they're part of the same company, even if the logo wasn't there. So my whole goal was to find imagery with these wooden planks that kind of look out into the landscape. And that's what I was able to find, and that's basically what the theme is here. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to find images, and once you purchase and download these images, what to do with them in Photoshop to make sure these are going to be print ready in the end. I just put these 3-dimensional boxes on here. I'm just doing the face of this because this isn't a packaging design tutorial. This is a tutorial to show you the layout of the front. And if you can do the layout of the front, you can certainly do the layouts of all the other panels if you had the proper template. Now, the Only Organix logo was changed since the last time, and I'm going to show you, there's a lot of, besides adding the actual images in here, there's a lot of transparencies going on that make the text be able to pop off, like right here, the organic, the actual type of blend it is. So I'm going to show you a lot about the transparencies in here and how you can benefit from them. Brush strokes along here, you can see on each one on the top and the bottom. Centering text, and making obviously the text boxes, but being able to center them using the shear option here. And right here you got like a dotted line. I'm going to show you how to make that. Also how to find the USDA organic logo through brandsoftheworld.com. Okay, so now as a part of this tutorial, I did give you the actual vector layouts through Illustrator, but the images are something you're going to have to get on your own because they are images that I purchased. Now, I purchased my images from mostly Big Stock Photos, so these are the 3 images that I did purchase from there, and I'm basically going to drag them into Photoshop, so now they're all on their own documents, these 3 images. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure these images are ready for print in the end, because these obviously packages are going to be printed eventually. So there's a couple things that we need to do to each of these. If you notice in the top, and I do this on every layout tutorial if they have images, but it's good to consistently do this so you remember. If you see how they say RGB on here, all 3 of them, we need to change that to CMYK because CMYK is a color profile for printing. First thing you want to do is come up to Image Mode, CMYK Color. All right, we're going to do that for all 3 of them. We're going to go Image Mode, CMYK Color. We'll go back to that first image. What you want to now do is go to Image Size. And right now, basically what it is telling us, it's saying that it looks the best at 12 in about 13 inches in width by about 12 inches in height. Now, this whole package, the front of it at least, is only going to be 3.5 by, I think, 5 1/4. So if you look at this, basically, we don't need it to look this good, this big. Although we are going to expand it, we are going to enlarge it a little bit in Illustrator, we don't need it to look that crisp, that clear, that big. Because what it's doing is it's giving us a huge file that's about 50 plus megabytes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come down, we're going to change this to say 7 for now. So it went from 51 megs to 15 megs. And I'm happy with that because, like I said, I am going to scale this up a little bit. And basically, I don't want it to, I don't want it to be too low resolution, but I don't want it to be unnecessarily too high to make the file too large. So we're going to hit OK. We're going to do that on all 3. Image size. This one's going to come out a little bit differently. And I'm sorry, you want to make sure that obviously says 300 resolution. So we're going to take that width. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take it down to 7. It's going to go from 94 megs to 13. And last thing is we're going to go to image size 7 from 64 to 14 now. Hit OK. Now we're just going to save these as, I'm just going to save these as JPEGs to my desktop. So image 1, hit OK. Image 2, OK. And image 3. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we are going to set up our new document in Adobe Illustrator. And I'm in CS6 right now. And what you want to do is go up to File, New. And you want to make, for right now, 1 artboard. This is going to be a 3 artboard job. But for right now, we're going to just use 1 artboard. And we're going to make the width 3.5. And we're going to make the height 5.25. And we're going to make sure the orientation is a portrait. And obviously your units were in inches. And for right now, we don't have to put any bleed on this. And if you go into advanced, just make sure it says CMYK and 300 pixels per inch. Now you're going to hit OK. What I'm now going to do is I'm just going to copy. I'm going to paste what I had from my original. So I have kind of a reference. And that's the great part about the files that I have given you, that you could basically use it as a reference this whole time. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, well, I have provided you with the only Organix logo, okay? And the only Organix logo, obviously, right now is 3.5 inches. So we're just going to, I'm just going to show you what makes up this logo really quick. Aside from the physical logo, meaning that, let me take these parts off right here. We're going to add these in later, but this is to really, these little gradients that are hiding behind here are really to help knock the logo off from what's behind it. So I'm going to take those off for now. I'm just going to put them to the left. And right now, basically, we have our logo. It's got the white type of a grassy type of texture that is a part of it. You can see that it goes through the leaf, but if I hit select all, it's really going to go through the whole piece. Now, originally, I had to add this part here and this part to the left. So originally, it was just like this. And then I added these to the left and then the right. But what I want to do first is I want to come to File, and I want to Place. And I want to find my images. And I believe it was the first one is, oh, that's image number 3. I'm going to place that on my canvas. And it's good because we did crop this based on the image size in Photoshop, but look how big it is compared to my canvas. Look how big it is at its best quality. That's what I meant. So basically what you want to do first is you want to come to your rectangle tool and you want to just click. And we're going to make a rectangle of 3.5, and we're going to make the height 5.25, which is the same size as our document. Basically, we're going to make a clipping mask of this background. Now, I'm going to put this right where my artboard starts and ends, and I'm going to basically select both by, without the logo, excuse me, select both. I'm going to right click and go to make clipping mask, or go to object clipping mask make, or actually it's Command 7. Now, I don't use layers in any of my layouts, and I'll tell you why. It's because you can speed through, or I believe you can speed through your layouts much quicker, unless you have a background that you 100% absolutely know you're not going to be messing around with. You can do this without making layers. Basically, what you want to do now is, the logo is behind here. So we're going to take this image and we're going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring, Send to Back. Excuse me. So now our logo is on top. Now, I'm just going to do one thing really quick. I'm going to pull my, just group this whole thing up here. I'm going to pull this down. And I'm going, it didn't help. Let me unlock everything. I had everything locked. Basically, I wanted those wooden planks to end at a certain point on each of my images. Because you see, if I back up and I pull a ruler out, Command R, and I pull a rule out, you see how basically they're basically all lined up in the same plane. Give or take, a 1/16 of an inch. So again, I'm going to pull this down so I can get my correct height. And I'm going to pull out a guide that is as high as this over here. So basically what you want to do now is, because this isn't a clipping mask, this image, you have to hit the letter A on your keyboard to get to your direct selection tool and click on your image. Because it's showing you what's hidden in that clipping mask. You can move it up and down, left and right. You can scale it up. So right now I'm going to make sure the wooden planks are right here, and I'm going to hit E on my keyboard now, because you see how now I can transform this. I'm going to back up a second. All right, I'm going to hit A. And then once I hit E, you see how it gives these little boxes? It's a transform. So now I'm going to click this. I'm going to hold Shift so I keep their proportions, and I'm going to hit Option so it scales it down right through the middle. And now I'm going to, again, hit A on my keyboard for my direct selection. We're just going to move this down just a little bit more. I'm trying to get the same dimensions I got on my original. Actually, I do have to increase it a little bit. Scale it up a little bit. Okay, that looks cool. The next thing I'm going to do is, basically, I'm going to add these into here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a rectangle, and I'm just going to freeform draw it right here. Okay? And, say it's filled with black. Basically, what we're going to do is, let me just check something real quick. Okay. We're going to make a gradient of green to white. And basically, okay, we got our gradient from green. Any type of a green. You can even sample one from the image by using the eyedropper tool. If you see this is a darker green, this is going to be a lighter green. So I like the darker green in this case. And every time you sample one, what you want to do is come up into your color and you want to pull it into your swatch panel. So now it's right there for later use. Now, I'm going to click on my rectangle and I'm going to come into my gradient area. I'm just going to pull this in, that green. And now I have green and then I have white at the other end. Let me just check something again on my original. Okay. All right. What you want to do now is hit the gradient tool, and you want to go from the top to the bottom. So click up here, hold Shift, and now go straight down to the bottom. And maybe we'll mess with our levels a little bit. We'll pull our levels up just a little bit. Too much. There you go. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to we're going to actually shift this over, hold Shift, and push this right over here. And if you notice, it's right on top of our logo, and we don't want that. We want to now take our logo, which I'm a bad boy because I ungrouped it. So this is okay. What you want to do is move this rectangle over here. You want to select the background now. Because it's not on a locked layer, you need to lock it. So hit Command 2. So now no matter what I do, I'm not going to mess around with my background. You're now going to select your entire logo, and we'll move it just to make sure I got it all. And we're going to go to Command G to group it. Okay, so now we have that grouped. What you're now going to do is you're going to come back here. We're going to pull this back over here. And we want the darkest part of this to be basically halfway through the words. So the fade comes up out of it and then fades to nothing. What you're now going to do is you're going to take this logo and we're going to go to Object Arrange, Bring to Front. So it's in front of it. And we're now going to go to Option, click this rectangle, and we're going to hold Shift. And we're now going to pull this down. So we basically copied it. And we just moved it right down. We're now going to come to the Reflect tool, or O on the keyboard, and we're going to click near the top. We're going to hold Shift, and we're going to go pull our mouse straight down, and you're going to notice it flips when you let go. We just flipped it vertically. And I'm now going to put it right back under there. Now, that doesn't look at all at what I got over here, but what we now have to do is we have to set a transparency on here. So we're going to select the first one, and we're going to select the second one, but you got to hold Shift before you do that so you can select both at the same time. We're now going to come into our transparency and we're going to go to multiply. Okay. Now let's see if it did anything. All right. Let's see. I'm basically going to select both of these and I'm going to delete them. So you see how our logo was now, and I'm going to hit Command Z to back up, and now our logo pops off really nice. You can also mess around with these boxes, maybe pull the dark out more. and maybe move it up. You can also mess with the gradient and the slider to get it to where you want it to be. And the reason I'm building one of these now is because I'm going to build one, and then we're going to make 2 more artboards and very quickly build the other ones, because you don't want to start out with 3 artboards and do the same thing over and over and over. You want to set one and then set the others much quicker than you did the first one. So now it's nice. We have our logo that pops off. We have our background in there at the right scale. What we're now going to do is we're going to make another box that is 3.5 by 5.25 of our document. We're going to hit OK. Okay? And we're going to fill that with black for right now. What you now want to do is we're going to come into our rectangle tool, or shape tool, excuse me, and click and hold down. You're going to get a few more options. Select the rounded rectangle tool. And we're just going to kind of click up here somewhere randomly, and kind of make the same amount of space towards the top and the left. And we're going to come to about, let's see, I'm just going to see something real quick. All right, that is that high. Okay, and now we're going to hit OK. And we're going to put yellow in there, just kind of see the difference right now. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to select both of these. We're going to come into our align tools, which are at the top, or you can go to Window, Align, and the tools will be in your toolbar. And we're going to hit the horizontal align through the center point on both of these. All right, you don't want to do the vertical, because that's going to put it just like that. You want it near the top. You want that extra room at the bottom to make that little stroke that has the cutout marks on it. So that's where you're going to pop it, and those tea bags are going to come out. What we're now going to do is we're going to cut that yellow out from the black and create a shape that looks like this, okay, without this center stuff going on yet. The way that you're going to do that is you're going to select both of these, come into your Pathfinder tool, which is also at Window, Pathfinder, and you're going to hit the shape modes, and the second one is going to say minus the front. So basically we minus the front yellow shape from the back black shape. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this in here for now, and you're going to see what we're going to do here. So we're going to come up and do our text tool, and we're going to type out the word organic green tea blend. We're going to hit escape afterwards, because that will end the selection. Whenever you make a text box and you know this stuff is going to be centered, the first thing you absolutely have to do is you have to come up here in your paragraph tool, or you can also find it in the paragraph palette over here, and hit align in the center. Because later on, say you don't like the size of the type, and we start to increase it, watch what happens. It's going to go right up from the middle, which is what we want. Now, the next thing we want to make sure is that we have our text centered. So say it's like this. Obviously, it's not centered. You don't want to be doing this all day, because you're not going to get it perfect. And if you're very particular and you're a perfectionist, you want to get this stuff right. So what you're going to come up to here into your X value. Your X is your horizontal value. So basically, the width is 3.5. So we want to make obviously our middle center point will be 1 3/4. That's half of 3.5. So we're going to basically select this, and we're going to type in 1.75, and we're just going to hit enter. And you're going to notice that I'm going to back up, and I'm going to go forward again. You notice how it just jumped right into the middle, which is exactly what we wanted. All right, let's see what point size I had. This is a Mac OS X font, so it's called Canada MN, and it's roughly 20 points. So we're going to jump up to 20 points, and we're going to type in Canada. There we go, and we're going to change it to white. Now, when I was designing this, I didn't really like how it just kind of looked that, I didn't have this here yet. And I started designing, I was like, how can we make this pop a little bit and make it a little bit more funner? Plus, the fact that the title is on a darker background, it's too light over here. I don't want to start putting shadows on everything it's okay to put shadows, I do eventually, but I don't want to have to put shadows on everything to make them pop all the time. That's where transparencies can come in and really be very helpful. What we're now going to do is we're going to create a rectangle, and we're just going to put it right over the word organic tea blend. And we're going to zoom in. And right through the, let's see, I'm just going to eye this up. I'm going to center it kind of. You see where there's a little bit of black here, and that to center it right there. And I'm going to now take a ruler, and I'm going to pull a rule right through that center point right there. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to hit make point on the top and the bottom that I can manipulate. What you want to now do is hit the plus sign on your keyboard. That will bring you to this tool right here, which you can also find by clicking, holding down, and hitting the Add Anchor Point tool. And we're going to click, and we're going to click. So we basically, if I take the guides away, you're going to see now there's a point at the top and a point at the bottom. What you're now going to do is you're going to select those points with the direct selection. So hit A on your keyboard and select that point. And we're just going to hit the down arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Now you're going to hit get to the Convert Anchor Point tool by clicking and holding down or going to Shift plus the letter C. And you're now going to basically click on these points and you're going to unwind them. You see how it helps you unwind them? And now it's by hold Shift at the same time and just move to the left or the right, and you're going to see it creates a nice curve for us. All right, so now it looks like you got this kind of a thing going on in here, and it's different than, you know, a flat box. I'm actually going to nudge this down one more. Make sure you use the direct selection tool to manipulate those points, or it will not work out like you'd want it to. The very next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to our pen tool. Lots of tools here, guys. We're going to click here, and we're just going to click at the other end and hold down. We're now going to, while we're holding down, we're going to curve that point to kind of match what we got a little bit. Get it pretty close. And we're going to make, we're going to flip the fill into the stroke area. So we have no fill, but we have a white stroke that kind of contours to that curve. And what we're now going to do is we're going to come into our brushes. And our default brushes is always a grunge brush. I'm going to use this brush right here. It's a charcoal brush. And I'm going to make it, let's say 2 points. I'm going to scale it out a little bit. And I'm now going to go to Option Click. Actually, no, excuse me. I'm going to, now with that stroke, I'm going to go to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. Okay, so now it's a shape. I'm now going to go to Option Click, and I'm going to shift that down. And I'm going to hit my Reflect tool, and we're going to go from top to bottom again. We're going to flip that baby over. I'm actually going to go from left to right too. So I'm going to flip it so the thin part is on this side this time. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 1, hold Shift, 2, and then this bottom one. We're going to come up into our Pathfinder, the top left option, Unite. And we're going to unite these. So now I have this shape that looks like this. I'll color it in red for now so you can kind of see what I mean. You see this little shape that it's kind of grungy on the top and the bottom? Now what we're going to do is, we don't want it red obviously, so let's put it back to black. And we're now going to select, zoom out for a second, we're going to select this shape here that we made before and this. And we're now going to hit Unite again. So now, if I pull this off, you see this is what we have going on. Okay? It's basically, we have a frame because you can see all that stuff through the middle of it still. And now we got this really nice centerpiece. What we're now going to do is we're going to go to Object. If you had, all right, let's see, I had that locked before. So Object, Unlock All, or Shift, let's see, what is that? Option, Command, and then the number 2, and it's going to unlock everything. The reason I'm unlocking everything is, well, not everything. The only thing I had locked was this back image, is because we want to select the back image with this frame we just made. And we want to send it all to the back, so everything, well, especially the word Organic Green Tea Blend, pops up in the front. So we're just going to select Marquee, click down and select both of these, go to Object Arrange, Send to Back. And you just notice how, boom, this popped on top and this popped on top. Okay, so the very next thing you want to do is you want to change this black in here to this kind of gray, but the gray is going to be made up of CMYK because when you do the transparency, you're going to get all different types of results with different colors in there, even the slightest difference in color. So what you want to do in here is jump into your fill, and you want to add in the code 504, the letter C, the number 4, and then D. I'll put it up on the screen, and you want to hit OK so it fills with that code. What you now want to do is you want to come into your, well, first of all, you want to select this and hit Command C because we're going to come back to this in a second. We're now going to click this in our transparency, and we're going to change it to Overlay. All right, so right now you really didn't see it do anything, but you'll notice that overlay is going to play a factor in what we're going to do next. the next thing we're going to do is going to go to Command F, and basically we pasted it back in front of itself. So if I move this one, we have 1 and then 2 of those same boxes. So I'm going to back up. I'm going to select the one again that's on top that we just made. I'm going to change that transparency to multiply, and I'm going to change the transparency opacity to 20%. So now you start to see what's happening in here. You can take this and make it 30%, make it a little bit darker to your own liking, but that's how you get that. Now, what you want to do right at this point is you want to go to Object. All right, so everything is unlocked. So you want to select all these one. So you're basically selecting 1, 2, and then the background. Let me back up. Select all 3 of these. Go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back to help the logo and the organic green tea blend pop out on top. Now, if you feel more comfortable at this point, you could make another layer and put these on there, but I'm not going to do that at this point because I don't like to work with layers. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, let's see. All right, I'm going to come back to our original 1, 2, 3. All right. I'm going to take this out of here. You see how it kind of changes this up a little bit? In each one of these, I created a little box in the background. Let's see. Did I in the end? Yep, I did. Okay. I created a little gradient in the background to make it kind of pop a little bit. So originally, I kind of had it plain like that, and then I started messing around again with transparencies because it's so much fun. And what I did here was basically you just want to make a box, another rectangle, and we're going to keep it black for right now. And you want to make a, let's see how I did it here. Perfectly. Okay. You want to make a gradient that has green on one side, any color green. You could sample it from the artwork, and then white on the other side, and make sure it's a radial gradient. And we're going to mess around with our slider a little bit. We're even going to come in here into the gradient tool, make this a little larger. So there's a lot more white than there is green. Okay, just like so. And we're now going to take that. We're going to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Okay. Let's see something really quick. All right. That should be... All right, cool. All right, so now what you have to do is you have to select your... I knew there was something wrong here. You have to select the image that's in your background and now make that transparency a multiply to see through what we just did. So basically, I'm going to lock 1, 2. I'm going to lock the background, and now I'm just going to pull this out. That's what we just added. So if I back up, you go forward, back, and then forward again. So that's how you kind of like look at it and you say, all right, which one looks better? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a simple text box. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go take this organic green tea blend. I'm going to go to Option, click and shift and hold Shift while you move that up. And I'm going to type out become one with the earth. And I'm now going to hit escape. And I'm going to, how many points did we make that? Make that 15 points. And I'm now going to go to Option, click. I'm going to shift, by holding Shift, I'm going to pull this down. Type out 100% NATURA, natural herbal tea. And I don't drink tea, or I mean I drink it, but I'm not like a guru. I don't like know all this stuff about tea. So I hope there is like the brands that I have put on here, like the organic tea and the echinacea and the chai tea. I mean, I've heard of them before, but I don't know if my combinations of words have made any sense here. But anyway, the next thing we're going to do is, okay, so we have, all right, so we have that. We're going to just take this right here. We're going to come up into the Shear tool because there is no italics version of this font. So what you want to do is come into the Shear tool, which is right here, or actually there's no keyboard command short with that, shortcut. We're going to click and we're going to hold Shift and you're just going to move to the left or right. Obviously, you're going to move to the right just a little bit. I wanted just a little thing going on there. You can come up into here. I added a shadow on this by clicking this and going to Effect, Stylize Drop Shadow, and hitting the preview. I just did a 0.01, 1, and 1 on there just to be very simple shadows. I don't like to go crazy with shadows and they start to look like club flyers. the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up into our rounded rectangle tool, and we're just going to make a rectangle just like so. Okay, and with the Pathfinder tool, we're going to hit another rectangle, draw it right over here, and we're going to select both by clicking and selecting both of these, and come into our Pathfinder and minusing the front. So we cut the front out from the back. We're going to change that to a white stroke, and now in our stroke options, we're going to hit dashed line, and you can set the dash to whatever you want. I'm going to set to 5 with a 2-point gap in here. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go to make these text boxes right here. Basically, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to click these over because at this point, text boxes are very simple. We've been doing them a couple times in here. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to jump in to the internet, and we're going to find this logo, the USDA Organic logo. We're going to go to brandsoftheworld.com. We're going to hit enter, and we're going to type in US. Let's see, what did I type in for this? USDA. There we go. We're going to now click on this logo right here. Very simply, we're going to hit I agree, and the download button will pop up in orange, and we're going to download this. We're going to save it to our desktop. We're going to go to our desktop, and there it is right here. If I double click, it's going to open up in Adobe Illustrator, and we're now going to simply select that and copy. I copied it, and now we're going to paste it, and we're now going to scale this down. And you can plop it in there. I also put a white stroke around it, so maybe we'll do that too. We're going to take this right here, put a little white stroke around it to pop it off of that background a little bit, and make it a very thin stroke so it doesn't. There we go. Cool. All right. And okay. You see how the tick marks are happening on the bottom? You don't want that. So you're going to hit A on the keyboard, and you're just going to select the line segment, and you're going to hit delete. So it's going to delete that line segment for you. And all right, let's see, what else do we have to do on this side? Nothing. If you were working with a packaging template, you would have the template basically kind of looking like this. This would be the next side panel. Let's kind of visually show you this. All right, and then you'd have so you'd have kind of like this going on, and then you'd have a flap up here, and then a flap down here. This would all make that package possible, the shape of the package possible. But so in this case, you don't need to on the cover add bleed, unless the cover would be the sides and all these other things. If I was to complete this, would be totally different panels with artwork that wouldn't run into each other. That's why I did not add a bleed on here. Let me just delete that last one. And then now we're going to make the other two. The one other thing we have to add to this is we have to add, I just realized, let me ungroup this real quick. You see how this little box, this little bit, I'm going to back up, it helps push the words off the background a little bit. You'll see on all of them how it's going to help. So basically, you're going to create the same type of gradient that you created to knock out that logo before, with the transparency of multiply. And I trust you guys, you can do it at this point. And I'm just going to put it right here. Again, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to put it back so you can see how it helps pop that white off the, you got to be careful with text. You don't always want to be putting shadows on it, although I threw a little shadow behind this down here and this up here, but you don't want to go crazy with that. So this is little ways that you can make this, fix this stuff. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to come into my artboards, and I'm going to click and drag into the, all right, something happened here. Oh, I know what happened. Okay. First of all, I'm going to delete this because it's in my way and it's bothering me. You're going to make sure everything's unlocked by going to Object Unlock All, which I just did through keyboard command shortcuts. And now we're going to come into our artboards, and we're going to go click, and we're going to throw that into a new layer, and we're going to do it one more time, the third layer. Okay? Now let's see. We're going to change this to chai, and we're going to change this to Echinacea. Echinacea. We're going to now hit escape, but you notice something different about this one. The fact that it's like just about hitting the edge, and that looks very dumb. So because we set this originally on the first one, aligned to the center, and it's centered already, all we simply have to do is just pull that down about, actually go to 18 points, 2 points. So now we're still looking good with that one. Let's see, did I have to change anything else on these? Not yet. Okay. What I want to do now is, okay, I want to hit A on my keyboard, and I'm going to click this image in the back, and you see how it's still hidden back there? I'm now going to go to image 3. I'm going to hit relink. Okay. Excuse me. You can also find that through the Windows links panel, which looks just like so. I'm now going to, it's usually not looking like that. Let's see. I'm going to hit this little drop down arrow right here and go to relink. I'm going to relink that one with image number 1 with the blue sky. And I'm now going to come into this one. I'm going to relink this with image number 2, I think. 2 is the one we have not used yet. Okay. I'm going to pull up my guides again by going to Command colon. And you notice how these planks of wood do not line up right now. All right. What I'm now going to do is, also zoomed in a little bit too, I think. We're going to click this. We're going to hit E on our keyboard to transform. And we're just going to transform this up. Make sure you hold Shift or Option when you do that. We'll always hit Shift, but you can hit Shift and Option is another option you have. And let's see, where did those trees? All right. I wanted these trees to be low so I could have become one with the earth on top of that. So I got to, oh, excuse me, I'm too zoomed in. That's why. I'm going to move that down a little bit. Still too zoomed in. One more. Okay, so that looks good. And now we're going to do the same thing with this one. Let's see. I'm going to increase that a lot. All right, looks pretty cool right now. Very next thing we're going to do is we got to change a couple of little things that we did in here. Especially, well, I want to show you, look at this. If we take this box out of here, look, it helps pop that off a little bit. But what I want to do here is I want to change that brown in the gradient to a black. So I'm going to change that to black. So there we go. It's going to pop it off a lot more. And, or you can, you know what, I'm going to lower that just a little bit. It's a little bit too much. All right, now here we're going to do, let's do a dark green. I think, is that what I did? Or maybe I did a brown. Nope, I did a dark brown. It's brown wood, obviously. All right, cool. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to select this image and go to Command 2, the images. Now we're going to do 1. We're going to select Command 2 there, 2, 1, and 2. And remember these that I created before, the 2 green things? They're right here. I'm now going to fill this one with blue. Just any kind of blue, just to throw it in there. And you're going to notice how it changes everything a little bit. Watch, I'll back up from the green to now the blue. And again, I'm going to take that away. You see how it was like that? It adds a little bit, you know. Same thing with this one right here. I'm going to throw blue in, green. I think I did a dark green. There we go. Nice. There was a light green over here. This is a darker green. And I'm going to remember these that I created originally for the first one. I'm now going to select both of these. And since they have the same gradient value, I can select them both at the same time. And I'm just going to put, let's see. That blue, I want to make it a little darker, add some black in it up here, make that logo pop off really nice. Same thing here, I'm going to put a different type of green and I'm going to make it darker to make it pop off. Again, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to hit escape. This is what it originally looks like. I'm now going to hit Command Z to back up, and that's what it looks like now. It pops it right off the back. This become one with the earth has to be dark, so I'm going to make it about 80% black because, you know, sometimes you have to change these things up. And the only other thing that needs to be done with this piece is this right here. The become one with the earth has to have some kind of a shadow on it. So you either do an effect of a drop shadow on it. Yeah, actually, excuse me, that is the way what we're going to do. We're going to apply a drop shadow to it so it pops off the background. That's really honestly the only effective way. Now, I did do something different with this one, and I want to see. Remember I said before, each one might have some different transparency values. I'm trying to give you guys everything in this tutorial. So let's see. We got one that is multiply and 40%. All right, so we'll change this, the top one, remember, to opacity 40%. There we go. So it's nice and dark. Watch, I'll back up. That's what it was. That's what it is now. Much nicer. And the top one here is 40% also. So 20 to 40 to make it pop off really nice. Okay, so now I'm just going to save these really quick as PDFs, and I'm just going to delete everything else that was on my canvas that I did not need. I'm going to go to Object, make sure everything is unlocked. Make sure if you did use layers that your layers are all unlocked. Like I said, I have everything on one nice layer. I'm going to hit Command A, and I'm going to now go to Type, Create Outlines. I'm going to outline all my fonts. And I did not add bleed on here, like I said before, because of the fact that this might just be a panel that it doesn't require the bleed because of the template it's on. But I'm at least going to show you how to save these as PDFs. You know, say you want to send this first cover to your client, or 3 different versions to your client, just to show them what they're going to look like. So what we're now going to do is we're going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to save it to our desktop for now, Adobe PDF. I'm going to do Arrange 1 through 3, all artboards, and we're going to hit Dest or All, actually technically, because the range is, you know, just hit All, and we're going to type out covers. Go to our desktop, and we'll do a high quality print. I'm going to uncheck Preserve Illustrator Editing Capabilities, make it a smaller file for us to open. There it is right there. All right, boom. Zoom out real quick. All right, there is number 1. There is number 2. And there is number 3. So that is how you design the only Organix covers to the 3 packages. All right, so thanks for checking out another episode of Graphic Design Layout Bootcamp. In every episode, I try to teach you more than I do in the previous episodes, but a lot of times I'm teaching you basically the same stuff. The more you do everything, the more you're going to get better in the end. So following these tutorials is definitely going to help you. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. A lot of work gets put into these videos, so I definitely appreciate the feedback. Like this video and share it out on your social networks. If it helps you, it's definitely going to help somebody else out there. Hit the subscribe button to our channel so you can get these videos as soon as they come out. Here are a couple other videos from the series so far, and I want you guys to take the challenge. Take the files that I have given to you and get your own images and redesign some kind of a layout. It doesn't have to even be a packaging layout. Some kind of a layout, maybe a poster about the packaging. Something like that, you know, showing off the new product, and send it to me. And eventually, with all these Layout Bootcamp episodes, I'm going to put these on Facebook and other areas for people to see what other artists are doing with the same ideas in artwork. So, my name is Steve Looney, and I will see you guys next week for the next episode of Graphic Design Layout Bootcamp. Talk to you soon. Peace.